think with the doctor. Yes, he's got it. Here he comes. Way back the baby in his plate.
Until morning. Ewing.
Oh, wow.
He's going to try to get one more shot off the line. Push the ball there.
How about that?
Steps over Toronto. He thought about three. He'll put up a three.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, Boom Broadcasting presents Three from Deep. I'm your host, Jason Colenso. Welcome to the show. Thank you, everybody, for joining me here on Wednesday. I do appreciate it. It has been a long NBA season, and I am so grateful that you guys have been joining me this whole time and supporting the show and supporting me in my endeavor here in this whole podcast world. So still learning a lot, and I appreciate it. I thank you guys for the feedback out there too. So don't be afraid to keep it coming. And let's say first things first, don't forget to jump on to the Boom Broadcasting Network here on the YouTube channel and like and subscribe. You got to join us here, man. Lots of great content providers, lots of great content. Myself, Three from Deep here, and we have tons more. And throughout the summer, we're going to have tons of content and a lot of different stuff. And we got some things in the works, too. We're cooking some stuff up in the lab. So don't be afraid to join us. Don't be afraid to tell your friends, neighbors, everybody else you got out there about the Boom Broadcasting Network. So thank you guys very much. Welcome. It's Wednesday. We're getting one day closer to the NBA Finals. But first things first, breaking news. If you guys haven't seen already, Mr. Tom Thibodeau of the New York Knicks has been relieved of his duties. Not saying that I told you so, but if you go back and look at some of the tapes, guys, I think I called it. Unfortunately, I don't like it because, of course, I never celebrate anybody losing their job. That's not what I am about. But I don't get a lot of stuff right, and it just sucks that I was right about this because you could see it in the way Tibbs was coaching that last game that he probably wasn't going to make it past if he did not win this series. And unfortunately, didn't win the series, and now he is out as the New York Knicks head coach. A lot of people are questioning why, and it's true. Tom Thibodeau is a heck of a coach, man. I'm not gonna deny that. Look, 998 games. He's what do I got here? He's 578 and 420, so he's got a .579 winning percentage. So great winning percentage. His playoff percentage is, I think, really what hurts him. Excuse me. 48 and 55 in the playoffs total. He was 24 and 22 with the Knicks. Back-to-back 50-win seasons for the New York Knicks. Got him to the Eastern Conference Finals for the first time in 25 years. So phenomenal job from Tom Thibodeau. It's just, I think that was his ceiling. And I knew it. I think the writing was on the wall. Look, he only spent 5 years in Chicago. One Eastern Conference Finals, and that was it. 3 years in Minnesota, and there was too much drama around him in Minnesota, especially with a lot of the star players. So that's why he didn't last as long there. And then 5 years here in New York with some playoff success, but just not enough to show the powers that be that, hey, next year could be our year. Because New York, look, we haven't seen a championship since 1973. We are one of the biggest markets in the NBA, and to not contend, and for it to be over 25 years since we actually did have some kind of relevant season, is very disappointing. I'm happy we had a really, really good season this year. It was very exciting. Lots of drama. Jalen Brunson has proven to be a superstar in this league. He is Captain Clutch. He was voted one of the clutch player of the NBA But he's so much more than that and so much more than New York. And we'll talk about the Knicks, excuse me, here in the offseason about what do they do now. Tons of rumors flying around there, of course. But was this firing justified? And I want to hear from you guys. I want to hear. I've been talking to the Boom family. I have some people that kind of see why. I have a lot of people that don't understand. And there's a lot of people out there that are like, why would you fire somebody that got you back-to-back 50-win seasons? Has won the Coach of the Year twice, 2011, 2021. Got to the Eastern Conference Finals. You ran up against a really hot Indiana Pacers team. But, would you have gotten past Boston if Jason Tatum didn't get hurt? I know they won some games there in Boston, and they had a really good series against Boston, especially in the beginning when they had Jason Tatum. I still think they would have won that series. But, the glaring issues in that finals series against Indiana, just some of the game calling, some of the personnel moves, again, putting Hart on the bench, and starting Mitchell Robinson, just a lot of question marks, from Tibbs and what he was doing and why he allowed the Indiana Pacers to just run up and down on you. I mean, this is a good Pacers team, but I think the Knicks made them look better than they were. It's going to be interesting to see what happens now. So where do we go now? Where do the New York Knicks look to for leadership? That's the big question. Tibbs is gone. He ain't walking back through the door. Once you're let go, that's pretty much it. So what do we do now? We got to think ahead. We got to think positive. We're coming off 2 really, really good seasons back to back. Just, couldn't get there in the playoffs, but I think we're just right there. And I think a lot of it is going to do with coaching. So where do we go from here? Of course, my first coaching prospect who I really, really like is Mike Malone, former Denver Nuggets coach. He's done a phenomenal job in Denver, got them their first championship. He is a heck of a coach. 44-36 playoff record. So that, again, is, to me, big. A lot of this has to do with the playoffs. We have good regular seasons, but it's how you perform in the playoffs. Can you get over that Eastern Conference Finals hump and get to the finals? It's been since 94 when we played the Houston Rockets. So it's been a long, long time. The year I graduated high school. So if that tells you anything about how old I am, please don't do the math. I try not to do it because it drives me nuts that time has gone by that fast. But Mike Malone, I think, to me, is a top choice. Championship pedigree. He's done some phenomenal things in Denver. He has a New York connection. He's got the Queens background. I guess he's from Queens native. He's from Queens. He served as an assistant head coach for the Knicks in 2001. So he has some New York ties to him. Plus, again, bringing in some cachet that you got a chip, and you coach the best basketball player on the planet. I think that can go a long way, especially when it comes to recruiting and free agents and things like that. So some of the other names that are floating around out there would be Chris Quinn, the assistant head coach underneath Eric Spoelstra there in Miami. He's kind of the next up and coming guy. So listen out for his name, Chris Quinn. He's doing some things and he's been impressive in Miami. So now I think he's going to be an up and coming. You're going to see him probably do some interviewing for some jobs here. They got some college guys floating around out there with Dan Hurley and Jay Wright, the Villanova connection. I mean, come on, the former Villanova coach to coach the Villanova boys. I think it's a little far-fetched, but you never know. That'd be kind of interesting. You also got Taylor Jenkins floating around out there, the former Memphis Grizzlies head coach. he did some great things with that Memphis franchise. So don't be surprised if he maybe gets an interview. Budenholzer with the Milwaukee Bucks. I don't know, if that would be a good choice. Yes, he's got a championship. Really just did not do well in Phoenix. I think that's going to hurt him, at least for next year. He may have to do that kind of sit a year or be behind somebody for a year and kind of let the taintedness of the Phoenix fiasco get past, and then maybe he'll have a shot. But especially the Giannis connection, we'll talk about that here in a little bit, because of course there's a lot of those rumors flying around. My biggest dark horse, or someone that could really come out of nowhere and be considered for the job, would be Becky Hammond. Guys, she was up for some jobs. I think she was up for the Portland Trailblazers job before she ended up getting the Las Vegas Aces head coaching position. Look, back-to-back WNBA championships she has won. But the biggest thing is 8 seasons under Greg Popovich as an assistant head coach for the San Antonio Spurs. So she has NBA pedigree. She coached the 2015 Spurs Summer League and coached them to the Summer League championship. So Becky Hammond, who, if anything, if being the first female head coach, I think she deserves that shot. And I think New York would be a phenomenal place for that to happen, because you talk about a big city, bright lights, and I think a town that would accept her as the head coach. I think that would be a phenomenal choice. So don't be surprised if Becky Hammond's name is not floating around out there. And there's some other names that you could probably see. There's some other assistant coaches out there. The NBA likes to regurgitate. They're like the NFL. They like to regurgitate some of their head coaches. But we'll see what happens. I think you're going to see probably in the next month or so the Knicks trying to hardcore press to get somebody. I think they're going to want to hire somebody before the NBA draft. So don't be surprised to see the New York Knicks hire somebody within the next 2 weeks. So they have leadership in place for draft night, and especially with the free agents coming up. And this is going to be a big free agent summer. There's going to be a lot of guys on the move. There's going to be a lot of trading going on. I think this is going to be a really, really interesting summer for the NBA. So as a New York Knicks fan, I'm sad because, of course, again, here we are starting over again. I'm still hurt from losing against the Indiana Pacers. It's bad enough that we made it to the Eastern Conference Finals and lost. It stings a lot more that it's somebody like the Indiana Pacers with all the history and the Reggie Miller and all the other stuff. We lost to them last year. So that's why I'm hoping that this firing wasn't a knee-jerk move. Look, Rick Carlisle outcoached Tom Thibodeau, hands down, in that Eastern Conference Final. Whooped him up. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, and a lot more to discuss as we get closer. So we are going to jump into the NBA Finals now, man. Woof, I almost got tongue-tied there a little bit here. And we've been talking about that a little bit. So we are one day closer. So tomorrow, 8:30, OKC and Indiana, the juggernaut versus the underdog, which, this is look like it is. The Oklahoma City Thunder are overwhelming favorites. And look at the money line. I'm not a big bettor, but I wrote some of this stuff down because, first game, I think the money line is Thunder is minus 410. Pacers are plus 320. The spread is Thunder by 9, which I kind of like that. I think the Thunder are going to oversee that. I think they're going to beat them by, a lot more than 9. Thunder are minus 700 to 750 to win the championship. Pacers are plus 500 up to 525. to win the championship. So if you're looking to just throw some money, and if something happens, but put it on the Pacers, because if they win the chip and actually beat the Oklahoma City Thunder, you have a chance to win some money. You're not going to really win anything if you pick Oklahoma to win. I think you're going to end up not really winning anything because they are just so big of favorites. Right now, MVP odds, SGA minus 600, because, of course, coming off the MVP for the regular season, now he's the favorite to win the MVP in the finals. Halliburton plus 700. Again, kind of, still jilted a little bit from not winning the MVP from the Eastern Conference Finals. That was Pascal Siakam. So it'd be interesting to see how Halliburton bounces back and performs from that, because with all the internet fodder flying around about that, I wonder if that's going to affect his game a little bit. I wonder if that's going to, do anything to the team dynamic. These guys say they don't watch a lot of TV and they don't watch it. I mean, that's bull. These guys are on the internet. They watch this stuff. They hear it. They hear it from their friends. They hear it from their family. If they're not watching it, somebody else is watching it and letting them know. So I'm sure that part of that is in his head. So we'll see. But again, we have Thursday night's game 1 in Oklahoma City. Game 2 in Oklahoma City is Sunday at 8:00. Game 3 Wednesday, the 11th, in Indianapolis, and game 4 is Friday in Indianapolis. So 2-2, 1-1, and 1. Is it going to go past 4 games? I still think it goes 5. I still have Oklahoma City winning in 5. I think it's a gentleman's sweep. I give at least Indiana one shot of winning one at home, but you never know. They surprised the Knicks at home in the Garden. The Garden's a pretty tough place, man. The Garden was rocking this year. That Oklahoma City, man, the Thunderdome, you talk about a loud arena. It's going to be a loud arena. So we'll see how Indiana bounces back from that. But this is going to be the Pacers offense versus the Oklahoma City D. I mean, plain and simple. Right now, the Pacers are coming off a historic performance, especially offensively in these playoffs. 57.6% field goal percentage, 58.7% in the paint, which is first in the playoffs. Mid-range shot, 48.7%, which is first. And their three-point shot percentage, 40.1, which is first. So offensively, the Indiana Pacers have been no joke. They have had the more impressive road to the finals, beating Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks, beating a 60-win Cavaliers team, even though they were a little beat up. Hey, you play who's in front of you, you still win. And then beating the New York Knicks, in 6. So Indiana has had an impressive run. Oklahoma City's had just as an impressive run. They are number 1 in defense. In fact, they have the best defensive rating in the playoffs history with 100.2% defensive rating, beating out Boston's 100.8. Second in field goal percentage, first in the turnover rate by a large margin. So this is going to be a huge offensive versus defensive battle. And the biggest question is can Oklahoma City continue that defensive strength and slow the Pacers' pace of play down, which is going to be interesting to see. Defense, to me, wins championships, and that's why I think really Oklahoma City is going to come out and win this thing, because their defense is on point. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an MVP, and I believe will win the finals MVP the way he is playing for what he's averaging points-wise. He is, that guy right now. He is the number 1 player in the association. And I think if he wins this championship, especially by a large margin, don't be surprised to see his stock really start rising. Mark Denault versus Rick Carlisle. Look, Rick Carlisle, great coach. Totally embarrassed Tom Thibodeau. In fact, essentially was a part of Tibbs losing his job because he got out coached and outplayed um, in that series. And I got my son over here who needs to sit on his butt because he's in my shot. Yes, peace. Oh no, go Dolphins. Go sit down. Sorry, pardon the interruption. But this is going to be an interesting coaching matchup. Both coaches are really, really good and coaching their butts off right now. But again, I still think Oklahoma City, this is their championship to lose. They are that good, and their defense is just going to be really tough. So we'll see if Indiana, that first game, I think is going to say a lot how this series is going to go. Because if Indiana can continue their pace of play and run up and down the court and score and score at a high percentage, Oklahoma City better watch it. But if Oklahoma City shuts them down, gets them shooting under 40%, and SGA drops 30 plus, I don't know. I think it's a wrap. I'm excited to watch it. It's going to be a interesting series. So we'll see. I want to know who you guys got. Let's get some voting going out there. Let me know who you guys got. I want to see who goes for OKC and who thinks Indiana has a shot. I know it's overwhelming, but I need to know. Inquiry minds want to know. So please tell me. And of course, thinking about the finals here, with my New York Knicks, getting close and all the reminiscing going on, talking about 1999 and 1994 and some of the different years. And going back in time. I like the time travel a lot. I love history. I really do. Big history buff. Love watching history, learning about history. It just amazes me where we have come from as a species to where we are now. That we've even made it this far is pretty cool. So for me to be sitting here right now on this microphone, thank you to everybody throughout history that has led us up to this point. So, because we are very, very lucky. But thinking about it, I haven't done it in a while. And I apologize about that. But I'm going to give you my top 5 best, biggest, most unbelievable finals performances or final series of all time. So, my top 5 final series of all time. I'm going to give it to you now. So, number 5, we're going to start out with my New York Knicks. The 1970 New York Knicks, who beat the Los Angeles Lakers. And those Lakers were nasty. Wilt Chamberlain, Jerry West. But this is also the famous Willis Reed Game 7 series. Willis Reed with a pulled thigh muscle, missed Game 6, New York Knicks fighting, and then all the drama kind of leading up to Game 7. Will he play? Won't he play? What's going on? And they shot him up with some stuff, and Willis Reed limps out of that tunnel, and the garden goes bananas. And if you guys have a chance on Disney Plus, they've been showing, I think it's also Hulu. That's all those things are the same. But When the Garden Was Eden, the little documentary about those 70s New York Knicks. And you listen to the stories and how it affected not only the Knicks and the crowd and the vibe, but how it shocked and stunned the Lakers. And just they were, Wilt Chamberlain couldn't recover. Look, he only had 4 points. He left the game with about 3 minutes to go in the first half. So he didn't play very long, Willis Reed, but it was enough to propel the Knicks to winning a championship. And it was voted one of the greatest Game 7s of all time just because of the drama and everything wrapped up into it. But man, that Knicks team was phenomenal. Walt Frazier, Willis Reed, the Senator Bill Bradley, Dave DeBuscher, Cassie Russell, Dick Barnett, who just got elected to the Hall of Fame, Phil Jackson, greatest coach. You can put him up there. Was a part of that team. So, what an amazing game! What an amazing series! The New York Knicks winning in 1970, getting their first of two championships. They won again in 73, but that 1970s series, the Willis Reed Game 7 game, is legendary. Legendary. And when I talk about, there's great games, and then there's games that they do Disney movies about, and this is one of those kind of games. So that's my number 5, 1970 Knicks versus Lakers. Number 4, the 1980 finals, Lakers versus 76ers. A rookie, Magic Johnson, solidifies his greatness in this series. We already know Magic Johnson coming out, had all the fanfare coming out of college, Michigan State. But this series, this finals, put him in another stratosphere. Legendary. He played all 5 positions in that game. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar had twisted his ankle. He was out game 6 and then out game 7. So he was out game 6. So in game 6, Magic Johnson starts at center. And here's a 6'9" point guard playing the center position. And he literally played in all 5 spots in that game and had a 42-point, 15 rebounds, 7 assist game. An MVP as a rookie. I don't want to hear no crap, about, when they talk about top 10 and we start talking about the GOATs and all this stuff, and you guys want to throw LeBron James and some of the other guys in there, and you want to take certain guys out. But listen, Magic Johnson is one of the greatest basketball players of all time, period. And it was this series that solidified this. And this was a great series. This was the Dr. Julius Erving doing the baseline move. If you guys have watched the little baseline up and under the basket, but they ended up losing, in 6 games. But a lot of it had to do with Magic Johnson as a rookie coming in and just taking them Lakers and taking them to the championship. So that's my number 4. Number 3, Lakers are in there again. 1984 Celtics versus Lakers. These guys through the 80s saved basketball. Magic Johnson and Larry Bird saved the NBA. They took it coast to coast. And I've talked about this before. I'll talk about it again. Michael Jordan took it global. That's why he's the GOAT, not just because he's the greatest basketball player of all the time. He is the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. But Magic Johnson and Larry Bird took the NBA out of the dark ages, off of tape delay, and made it East Coast versus West Coast, and made the NBA sexy and fun to watch. And it's because of those 2 guys, period. So 1984, Larry Legend, 7 games, leads the Boston Celtics to beat the Los Angeles Lakers. Larry Legend, MVP of that series, 27 points, 14 rebounds in that final game, solidifying his greatness. The hit from French Lick, legendary. 1984, Celtics Lakers, just one of many battles those 2 guys have had. And again, Larry Bird, Magic Johnson, pivotal in why the NBA is what it is today. Guys, do your homework and look this stuff up. Number 2, which was close to my number 1. And of course, as a Knicks fan, it's always painful to talk about Michael Jeffrey Jordan. But 1998, Jordan versus the Jazz. He gets his 6th ring, his 2nd three-peat, his 6th Finals MVP. again, guys, credit to LeBron James. He is up there, top 10. You could probably put him top 5. It's tough because there's so many greats before him, and I hate talking about errors and all that. It doesn't matter about errors. It's about how you played the game and your status and your legendary status. Michael Jeffrey Jordan, a.k.a. the GOAT, a.k.a. Black Jesus, a.k.a. God playing basketball. Let's just let him be the GOAT and cut all the other crap out. You can talk 2 through 10, and we'll go from there. But 6 final MVP. The epic shot or iconic shot, however you want to say it. The 20-foot jumper over Byron Russell. Kind of that crossover fadeaway shot, Jordan over Russell, to solidify the win and his 6th MVP and his 6th ring and his 2nd three-peat. Legendary. And it was close because the number one, I know it's a little new, but 2016, Cavs versus Golden State. A lot of it has to do with kind of what was wrapped up into this. Look, Golden State beat the Bulls record with 73 wins in the regular season. So here you go. Facing LeBron James on the Cavs. Golden State up 3-1 in the series. Then you have Draymond getting suspended for game 5. And then game 7, you had LeBron, the block. And then this is for you, Cleveland. So to me, that's LeBron James' legitimate ring. The stuff he got with the Heat and the Lakers. Yeah, you got it, but you had to hang on some coattails there. So, but this was one of the biggest victories, the emotion, the greatness of that Golden State Warriors team. I don't think anybody realizes the Golden State Warriors dynasty with Steph and Clay and Draymond, Iguodala. You know, after that, you threw in Kevin Durant. So, I mean, the Golden State Warriors were in the midst of their dynasty, 73-win team. And the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love, come back from 3-1 and win the NBA championship. So that's my number 1. So again, number 5, 1970 New York Knicks versus the Los Angeles Lakers. Number 4, the 1980 Los Angeles Lakers versus the Philadelphia 76ers. Number 3, the 1984 Boston Celtics versus the Los Angeles Lakers. 1998, Jordan and the Bulls versus the Utah Jazz. And number 1, the 2016 Cavs versus Golden State Warriors. So those are my top 5 greatest finals series of all time. What are your thoughts, guys? Give me your thoughts on my list. Am I missing something? There are some other great ones out there. Houston's back-to-back championships, which again breaks my heart, 94, 95. Dr. J and those guys winning. Let me know what you think. I need to hear from you. So, and then real quick, I just want to give props. My New York Liberty. So now that the NBA is almost over, it's over for me as a New York fan, but as a New York fan, I got the WNBA to kind of hold on to. And man, props to the New York Liberty coming off a championship season last year. There is no slide off at all. They are right now number 1, neck and neck with the Minnesota Lynx, ironically, who they beat in last year's championship. So we may have a repeat of last year's game, but 7-0 right now. They play Thursday night to kind of make it 8-0. Let's see if they can do that. But New York Liberty, Sabrina Ionescu, Breanna Stewart having a phenomenal season already. I'm excited watching them. They are such a talented team, man. You guys got to watch them. Of course, you have the Las Vegas Aces out there, the Phoenix Mercury, the Atlanta Dream. I'm just with Caitlin Clark being out, I know the the WNBA took a hit with that, but don't watch just because of her, guys. Watch because they are some phenomenally talented ladies, and it is exceptional basketball. So you got to check it out. And go Liberty! Shout out to Liberty! Shout out! I think they're going to go to the WNBA finals again. I would not be surprised to see them versus the Lynx one more time, running it back. So, guys, thank you very much for joining me today. Talked a lot about a lot, but I want to hear from you too. So again, don't be afraid to drop me a line. Don't be afraid to hit like and subscribe. I'm Jason Colenso. This is Freeze from Deep, and I will see you on Saturday, in which we will talk about that first NBA Finals game. We're going to see who shows up. That Indiana offense going to show up, or is that Oklahoma defense going to show up? We'll see. Thank you guys very much for joining me. Peace.